Good afternoon, everyone. I'm happy to be here with you today. Um, I will be doing my mini lesson on issues in second language learning and on the curriculum design aspect of it and its significance. First of all, just a brief overview. I work in a district that has about 10,000 students, and my role is to main, maintain and create our curriculum documents um, for Spanish language arts, and also support other coordinators who are experts in their subject areas. And I support in a way in which um, I make sure that strategies for English learners are in place. Again, the district has been growing over the last few years. It's a suburban district about 10 minutes away east of Austin. There's been a lot of construction here for the last few years, and our population has been booming. So I'm very excited to share with you in this mini lesson certain aspects of issues that occur in curriculum design for second language learners. Now, so introduction. Successful bilingual education programs need a well-mapped curriculum framework to support um, staff and teachers in campuses. Um, without one, you would have inconsistency across the district, and uniformity is important, and ensuring that everyone is the same page is on the same page helps students that would move within the district. So when in some cases, if a family moves to another school feeder area, um, the students do not lose much instruction. So that's one of the main reasons why that is very important, to make sure that the maps, that the curriculum maps are consistent. Second, the alignment. Alignment with the state standards is very important as well, and making sure that that what's recommended by the state, it's being taught, and the pacing behind that. So that's very important. So I wanted to share my presentation is going to examine the importance of effective instruction based on Spanish language arts curriculum mapping design, and link the instructional resources to empower bilingual teachers in the classroom. Now, so determining the effective instructional strategies to support teachers in teaching Spanish literacy and English literacy to ELLs is very important. We have campuses that are trans, um, transitional bilingual that are using the transitional bilingual models, where we have early exit, and, some campuses, and so in these campuses, by the time students get to third grade, there's minimal support in their first language. In contrast, we have other campuses that are dual language campuses, where Spanish is still instructed up to fifth grade level. So establishing whether different instructional strategies can better support transitional bilingual models is very important, and the two-way models the two-way immersion models that we have. So we want to make sure that there's the consistency in instruction in core content areas such as math, science, and social studies. So the purpose is basically is to learn to learn the significant role in and role an aligned Spanish language arts curriculum placed along with instructional resources to better support all bilingual teachers in elementary schools, in our elementary schools with that have different bilingual models, especially now that we are doing some type of most districts are doing some type of blended learning. Um, in our case, we've opened our campuses. We don't have as many students attending in-person instruction. Um, so we want to make sure that we are consistent in that aspect as well. So then we wanted to examine the type of method that we can improve access to this aligned instruction resources for supporting and the intended bilingual instructional strategies now that we have students still at home. How could that? Uh, how can we better support that? Um, so, so we want to know what is the recommended Spanish language curriculum mapping design to effectively align instructional resources. Um, and then and based on this effective strategies, how can we support teachers in using them in teaching Spanish literacy and English literacy to English language learners, in especially in our transitional bilingual model uh, campuses. And do instructional strategies differ? Are there any difference between the transitional bilingual models and the two-way immersion models that we have for some campuses in improving the academic performance in those core content areas that I mentioned earlier? So it's this is this is very important because it helps understand if an effective Spanish language curriculum can support teachers in lesson design and lesson implementation in the classroom. Also, it's important to investigate the effect of various types of instructional strategies for supporting teachers in teaching Spanish literacy and English literacy to English language learners. Um, and as I said, finding the differences is very important. Okay. Theoretical background. So for curriculum, successful educational programs rely heavily on a well-mapped curriculum for teachers to use. Texas Education Agency developed, TA developed Spanish language arts and reading SLR curriculum standards to support the development of Spanish language classrooms across the state. Okay, I've been part of this committee the last few years for TEA, in which we've looked through and sorted out resources. You have publishers from all over the country wanting to get into the Texas market. And our committee was in charge of our role was to verify that there's a significant alignment with their product and the Texas learning standards. So it's it is very important that the resources aligned. For instructional strategies, bilingual education models use various instructional strategies to support ELLs. Um, their second language needs, independent of the language in the classroom. Because two-way dual language immersion programs, you have Spanish language learners, um, and, um, and and you want to you definitely the strategies, instructional strategies that teachers use don't differ very much from those two different bilingual models. And one of the strategies for improving first language learning and second language learning acquisition is derived from Cummings in the independence hypothesis, where L1 learning will support students learning of their L2 or the second language. And it's something that it's very important. So as you develop, as the curriculum develop, you want to make sure that supports, instructional support, that there's a scaffolds in place, and the resources are able to incorporate these types of scaffolds, mm, be, for both languages, because in a two-way immersion program, um, you'll have well, in some models right now, in the next slide I'll explain it, but you want to make sure that it is that the strategies are in place, and and for Spanish language learners, students that are learning Spanish benefit from it, and vice versa, and your English language learners, so they could keep improving on their first language. And then when you are instructing, and when the teacher is instructing in the English language arts, also the same um, the same can be said for both groups. Um, and the next theoretical aspect of it is that based on the independence hypothesis, the instructional strategies used for literacy instruction in L1 and L2 can be utilized for the other core content areas, such as science, math, and social studies. And this is for students to learn that content. Okay. In literature review from the curriculum side, in many instances, the previously written general education curriculum is used during dual language immersion curriculum development. Um, so, so curriculum developers usually have a baseline. So the baseline is what general education population has already in place, and then they use that to mold it. But usually, minor adjustments are made to make the dual language immersion curriculum address Spanish language arts instructional needs, and sometimes the resources are not the same. Okay. So these type of curriculum development techniques make it difficult for teachers to work, because usually there's no clear reference to SLAR, referring to just the general curriculum documents, general education curriculum documents. Um, and so there's no clear reference to the SLA instructional resources for teachers to use in bilingual classroom, and that was the case prior to me being in this role that I'm currently in. Yes, not 100% of the time. Um, so, so authentic Spanish language arts curriculum. It's written according to science. It's written independently, and it enhances students' Spanish language academic achievement. Okay. So now we move into instructional strategies, and to some extent, some instructional strategies, schools and districts tend to adopt those instructional strategies, and get and they also, based on that instructional strategy, um, the dual language program tend to be relabeled. For instance, Gomez and Gomez has a set of instructional strategies in which how a program is implemented. A dual language immersion program is implemented. Um, so the program is still bilingual, dual immersion bilingual, but sometimes at those districts it tends to be it becomes a synonym, and instead of calling it that, they call it Gomez and Gomez bilingual model. But so just the public tends to kind of get misinformed on that aspect. Okay. So Gomez and Gomez dual language instruction strategy, it's a popular two-way dual language immersion instructional strategy that is used across the country. Um, at some point it was yeah, it was very popular, but right now it's in the next slide I'm going to share what's becoming somewhat more popular when it comes to dual language instructional strategies. And one of the Gomez and Gomez instructional strategies is that mathematics is taught in English, but the same mathematics objective is reviewed during their what they call specialized vocabulary enrichment, um, SVE activity later that day or the following day. So in this particular instructional strategy, more or less the instruction is done. The main major block of instruction is conducted in for mathematics in English, independent of of your groups that you have in there. If you have half and half, some 50-50 um, classrooms have 50% Spanish language learners, 50% English language learners. So the strategy, so the technique here is not so much that block of time, that particular set of time, but it's the block that they refer to SBE activity, specialized vocabulary activity, which is it's a group-based activity, and the opposite language with the same content, the same content and the same language and the same learning objectives, but it's a cooperative group activity in the opposite language, but being Spanish in this case. And the strategy there is that they use the cooperative grouping, and the vocabulary is provided, or the activity is provided in cards. So it's already depending on what resource the teacher is using. Um, it has interactive manipulatives and so on embedded, included in this strategy for uh, uh, learning mathematics. What has been trending? I know it's been about 2-3 years now, and my district has moved um, into this particular strategy, which is they refer to as bridging for biliteracy. Um, and it is a learning strategy aimed at using total physical response to teach foreign language and second language literacy skills in science and social studies. It is quite popular because students tend to be engaged. But if currently, it's something that I haven't seen very much in the current online um, setting. The virtual learning, the virtual learning environment setting. I haven't seen it very much. I'm sure it's still there, but what I've been observing is that it is challenging because students are in the computer. And then if you are doing some type of instruction and there's some movement that needs to go on, then you might have to, the student has to pull back and focus the camera on them. And I haven't seen it very much. I see it a lot in PE and physical education courses. Um, but as we are transitioning back into the classroom, it's going to be something that will be more obvious. Similarly, 20 dual language immersion model, the native language is taught during Spanish language arts instructional block and during mathematics instruction. for bridging for biliteracy. Teachers use total physical response to make second language learning comprehensible by scaffolding conceptual understanding into students' second language in science and social studies instruction. Furthermore, English language arts and mathematics concepts are transferred back to the student first language using the TPR as well. So it is more dynamic to some extent. So as you build the curriculum, at the curriculum it's constructed. These are some of the strategies that you want to look into in incorporating in some of those learning targets, or learning objectives, or in some instances referred to as learning intentions. So the plan, the plan overall is like, so the new form of SLA, of Spanish language arts curriculum, is to create, it's created to support classroom teachers in developing lesson plans using the curriculum. So what I want to share is that in this phase, the curriculum is already there. So what we extended, well, created, of course. So what it was extended was the developing of unit maps. And unit maps are another block of a, of this curriculum framework, but it's conducted, but it's made in a collaborative approach. And I'm gonna share some of the links that what a unit map some of the samples of what a unit map looks like, and how this happens to be incorporated in their overall framework. Okay, so let me share that. Hopefully you can see this. So I'm gonna show you how a first grade curriculum document with unit maps look like. So this is the Spanish language arts. And every single curriculum document normally has a pacing guide. So teachers will be able, I hope I'm sharing it correctly. Let's see. All right, so let me stop sharing that. I can share the link. Yeah, share the link there. And so this is an example of a pacing guide of this set of documents that make up the curriculum. The pacing guide it provides the district the range of when a certain unit needs to be instructed. Now, these are recommended documents, meaning that the teacher has, these are the dates, but every classroom is different. But ideally, you would want them close within the calendar to make sure that we are within the time frame. Everything is being taught within the time frame. So we have the unit maps, and we're gonna go and look at just one briefly. Let's see, let's look at this one. So ideally, there's an essential question, and And the standards, the green side, they're in Spanish. The left side, in this case, just the standards are in English. And then here are some of the resources that teachers could use, and the teachers could decide to either print it, save it on their desktop, and and then it goes by weeks. So every week there's a learning standard, what students are supposed to do, and anchor charts, ideas that the classroom teachers could utilize in their dual language or transitional early exit campus. And this helps teachers plan for those upcoming units. Um, and this is just the Spanish language arts side of it. So let me stop sharing this. Go back to our PowerPoint. There you go. So, so in this aspect of this plan, this is done collaboratively. Every summer, um, we invite bilingual teachers together and all the other core content area teachers to to improve the document and enhance it for the upcoming year. So so bilingual teachers collaborate and maintain all of these curriculum documents. And one important aspect of it that we use to gauge the effectiveness and how some of these documents are used is curriculum-based assessments are usually a good indicator um, o- over every grading period. Usually, that is something that we use to see how effective it is, um, and it helps us understand what we have to do. Okay. So the general research design, it's we use it. We can use, like I shared, we can use the results from assessments to determine the effectiveness um, of, um, of the curriculum documents. And the collections, survey data can be collected from teacher feedback in regards to how we improve or make the curriculum documents. Also, iterations of teachers' recommendations on these new documents to gauge level of engagement and how the instructional resources are improving or student outcome or performance outcome in both literacy, um, literacy in English and Spanish. And then in addition, the common basis assessment, I have it included, like the CVAs. And the server data help us definitely determine how we move forward. And finally, the academic performance. It's very important overall. Okay, let's see. And and like I said, it is usually a set of dates, a set of dates within various times during the year that the data is collected and and examined at those particular points in time. Okay. And also, it's not just for English and arts, but also for math, science, and social studies. Um, So we would definitely want to examine, um, you know, how the Spanish language curriculum design affects the alignment of instructional resources, and this and how the study determines the effectiveness of the instructional to support for the best support for teachers in teaching Spanish literacy and English literacy to ELLs. And also we want to see whether the instructional studies is that for all, and those two in our two models that we have, the transitionals and early exit, and the two-way immersion, the dual language immersion, and based on the improvement on those core subject areas. Administration, teachers, and students will benefit on our findings because their results will it's kind of directly related it's directly related to the academic achievement of English language learners. And another major implication is if the Spanish language arts curriculum design is highly effective, then we can recommend it to other school districts that are having developed something that are thinking of developing something effective um, for supporting um, the English learners in various bilingual models. Okay. Great. These are my references for this being the lesson. And if you if you have any questions regarding anything that you think you would like to learn more about, definitely email me. And thank you for watching.